Hi, I'm Tina from Tina's Tasteful Treasures, and today I'm going to show you how to make realistic looking brownies with Dollar Tree foam board. Get ready! The first thing you're going to want to do is cut your Dollar Tree foam board into 4 pieces. Once you do that, take 2 of them and you're going to peel off the paper. This should come off fairly easy. If it doesn't, you can take a wet paper towel and moisten the paper and help peel it off. You're going to do this to both pieces. Now, once you have all the paper pulled off of both sheets, you're going to want to glue these together. Now, since this is essentially now just the foam without the paper on it, you do not want to use a glue like E6000 or hot glue, as it will melt the foam board. Use regular craft glue or tacky glue. And now let them dry. Once that's dry, you're going to take your box cutter or X-Acto blade and cut them in half. You're going to repeat the process and glue these two together. Let them dry. Once they're dry, you're going to cut them down to the desired size that you want. Use your box cutter or your X-Acto blade. Don't try to cut through all 4 pieces at one time. Just do small, thin strokes until you get all the way through all 4 pieces. Once you get it to your desired size, you're going to put it to the side. While you're waiting, you're going to get your same craft glue that you used and your cornstarch. So if you're like me, you probably have a ton of these Tupperware lids that have nothing that they go to. This is where this will come in handy. You're going to have and add some of your glue, a generous amount. Well, depending on how many brownies you're doing. And then you're going to mix in some of your cornstarch. Well, maybe not that much, but we'll see. Yeah, definitely too much. Let's add some more glue. And you're just going to mix this until it becomes a paste. I'm going to keep adding and mixing until it gets to the consistency it needs to. I'll be right back. All right, we're to that desired thickness. As you see, it's almost the same as the icing that you put on cinnamon rolls. So what you're going to do now is essentially ice your brownie. And you're just going to slather it on there. You don't want it to be perfect. You do want it to have some bumps and some textures. So just kind of be generous with your slathering. And you're going to fill the whole top side, leaving the sides exposed. All right, that looks pretty good. Now let it dry. Once they're dry, it's going to look something like this. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your box cutter, your X-Acto blade, or even your nail if you want to, and you're going to rough up all the edges. I just kind of go around and just kind of pick at it to give it some texture. As you see, it comes off fairly easy. If you're going to use a box cutter or an X-Acto blade, please be very careful, as I don't want anybody to cut a finger off. But like I said, you can always use your fingernail too if you want. Now, as you can see, all sides have been roughed up and given texture. They're no longer straight and cut like when they were first done. Now you can take a piece of the paper that you pulled off the foam board and put out your paint. I like to use a variety of different paints. That helps it give it that more realistic look. Right now I have out 6 different paints, starting with light mocha, blush brown, burnt umber, brown oxide, chocolate bar, and black. I'm going to start by coating the whole thing in chocolate bar. See, sometimes even when you put them in order, you still forget which one's which. So I'm just going to coat the whole thing, sides and bottom, in chocolate bar. But you can use any brown that you want to do the desired color that you want for your brownies. Now this is what it looks like when it's all covered in brown. This is the part where it will start to get a little messy, so be prepared, as you're probably going to get paint on your hands if you're trying to paint the whole thing at one time. Now this is where you come in and start adding some definition. You can either use a stippling brush, you can use a piece of sponge, you can use anything just to add some different dimension and color. Just start off with a little bit, almost like in a dry brushing technique. I always kind of go with the lighter color first as the base, because when something cooks, it always gets darker as it cooks. So the lighter color is usually on the base. Once you get that, you can either go in with a darker brown or even add a little black and just give it some definition. Again, it's not going to be super realistic, but it'll look pretty good once you're done. I always go a little bit darker on the bottom because most of the time the bottom of brownies get a little on the darker side. Don't be afraid, it's just paint. You can always add and take away just that quickly. You just get it how you want it. And if you're going to be putting this on a plate or something like that, you don't have to worry about seeing the bottom of it. You don't have to worry about painting the bottom of it unless you want to. Again, just keep playing around to the colors until it gets to the look that you want. All right. And there you go. So you have some definition, and it helps bring out some of those lumps and bumps. Sometimes as your icing is drying, it will fall and get flat like it has here. You can either add more cornstarch to your glue and cornstarch mix, or you can let it dry a little bit to where it gets a little thicker, and then just go back over and give it more of that definition again. The more texture you give it, the more like a real brownie it's going to look like. And as it dries, you can keep doing this to help build it up some. Now this is where the magic happens. Your brownie is dry. You have your different colors and textures on there. Okay, the bottom's still a little wet, but it's pretty much dry. You're going to take your matte Mod Podge, and you're going to Mod Podge the top only. There's no need to do the sides, because the sides, keeping them like this will help give them more of that real brownie texture and look. We're simply going to Mod Podge the top. It doesn't have to be a lot, just enough to give it a good coating. After this, you can let it dry and be done. Or you can add your embellishments. You can add your fake candy coated chocolates. You can add sprinkles. Or you can add these round sprinkles, which make them look like a certain cupcake that can be found in the store. The choice is yours. For this, I'm going to leave it plain. Okay, I changed my mind. We're going to add some of these, and we're going to make it beautiful. So you can just add them wherever, no rhyme or reason, unless you want to have certain colors next to each other. But for this purpose, we're just going to make it beautiful. Then you're going to let this layer dry. Once it's dry, you're going to go back over where the sprinkles are with your matte Mod Podge. Be careful because some of them are probably not all the way down because we didn't have a thick layer of Mod Podge down in the first place. This is going to help seal them and keep them in place. Once you have it coated, try to make sure you don't have any spaces that have excess Mod Podge because it won't dry completely and it'll show around your sprinkles. So try to go back with your brush and even it out so it's not so thick. Now that we've taken some of that excess Mod Podge off, we can let it dry. Now that it's almost completely dry, you can handle it. At this time, you can either put it in your fake bakes or you can wait for it to dry completely and just use as is. Sometimes you just need a plate, a brownie, and some ice cream. Now it's ready for your tier trays or just to set out and drive your kids crazy. Thanks. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you want to see more like this, remember, follow me on Facebook at Tina's Tasteful Treasures, where I do lives every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and my son does lives on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll link all the information down below. I'll also link the shop in which I got these sprinkles from. Thanks, and I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can be notified of any upcoming tutorials. Thanks!